Well, welcome back to the Valley Hoops Insider podcast, part of the Valley Hoops Insider website. Harry Schroeder with you. Am I pointing the right way? Kevin Walsh and Jeremy Donald are with us. And today we're going to be talking about high school recruiting. Both of these young men have sons that are going to play Division I basketball this coming season and a long history of basketball in the St. Louis area. We are here in the glorious St. John Vianney studio, and we appreciate them allowing us to use this. Kevin, you're the basketball coach here at St. John Vianney, and you were the athletic director for a while too, or maybe you still are. I don't remember, but
I was the principal for a while.
A principal, that's what it was.
Never the athletic director. This guy does it all.
He does do it all, and so we've known each other a long time, been around a lot of basketball events and things together, and then Jeremy runs this massive basketball program in St. Louis. We're going to talk about all of that stuff and their sons and recruiting today. But first with you, Kevin, how long here at Vianney? And just talk about your experience at this just really beautiful, spectacular school.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here, and glad to talk a little bit about it. This is my 30th year at Vianney. I've been the head coach for 25 years. I love this place. I'm an alum of Vianney, so to come back, and I always tell people I was blessed to get my dream job when I was 25 years old, and so I stay at it. We've got great kids, great families, and try to keep a program going that our alums and our students are proud of.
I'm going to have you tell a story in a minute about how some of the older coaches kind of brought you along in the early days of your career here. Jeremy, the CNR League was some kind of an idea, a dream, or whatever that you started or people started a long time ago. Tell us about the CNR League and the massive amounts of young people, boys and girls, that are playing CNR basketball.
Yeah, CNR basketball was started by Mike Reinhardt and Scott Clear. They were both girls basketball coaches in the area. So I jumped in when I was the head coach at Fox High School, and I've been involved with it for, 15 years or so. So we are, there's a lot of soccer people out there. Slice of Soccer runs soccer in the area. We're the basketball version of Slice. So we have probably over 2,000 teams year round, grades 2 through varsity. We'll have high school kids playing in the non-winter season, but we have teams from, predominantly the Metro St. Louis area, but we'll get teams from Quincy, Illinois, Jackson, Missouri, Springfield, Illinois, all over. And we just basically, our motto is trying to give teams competitive games in convenient locations and working around their conflicts. So I'm a coach in the league. Both my kids have went through it. Kevin and I have coached together in the league. So, we're just happy to put together a good product that kids can, play basketball, whether they're good, whether they're average, whether they're beginner. And we just want to give them a platform to play to their capabilities.
Our church has a gym, and CNR comes and plays in our gym on Saturdays. I've seen both of you guys there. And yeah, they're from everywhere. And it could be the little pikers. It could be the older guys. I mean, it's so much fun to see all those young people plow through. Is there a mission statement, a vision statement that you guys have related to what you're trying to do?
It all started. Scott and Mike were just looking, Scott was at Marquette, Mike was at Webster Groves, and they wanted to find feeder for their 8th grade girls. We need to get them prepared for high school. And that it really started as a 8th grade girls league. And ever since then it's evolved. But again, I'm a basketball junkie. Basketball's been my life. And, whether it was as a coach or my own kids. And, we pride ourselves of just giving an organized league where they can play and enjoy the game. Not everybody's, I know we're here talking about, our kids have been fortunate and they'll go play in college, but, sports teaches so many lessons, and, whether that's at the high school level or at the 4th grade level. So we're just trying to give them a platform to play.
A true confession. I coached in that league a long time ago when my youngest was in middle school, feeder program into Lindbergh, and just so much fun, so incredible opportunities. Kevin, so a long time here, and your son Luke has signed to go play at Southern Illinois, Carbondale. I think he's ranked 4th in the state the last time I looked, and really highly ranked there. Your boy Sam on the Illinois side ranked in the top 40 in the state of Illinois, and he signed to play at Bellarmine. Or do they call it Bellarmine? Which way did they say it?
It's Bellarmine, and I'm learning now with the Louis Louisville.
Louisville.
Louisville. It's not Louisville.
No,
It's
no.
Louisville.
Nor is it Louisville.
Yeah, so I'm learning that us on the Illinois side of the river. So yes.
Before we talk about your guys, Kevin, a high school coach, you were a high school coach. You've got the Knights and the Brad Beal things and the AAU. What is the state of basketball outside of the high school world? Like, talk about separate from the high school world, all those other leagues that your guys and tournaments and stuff that your guys have played in.
Well, first of all, not to make this a commercial for the CNR League, but
We'll take it.
there's nothing better in St. Louis than the CNR League because they work around schedules. They make it super convenient for you. I mean, Jeremy does yeoman's work on making sure, and I'm a guy that's like, oh, shoot, we can't play here. This got changed. And so, like, if you're looking for a place for your kids or you have a team, bunch of friends from school, get them in the CNR League, and those guys do take care of you. And the CNR League has been great. I have 3 kids. Luke is our oldest. All of them are playing in it. Our youngest is a 6th grader. He still plays in it. And it is such a great platform for those guys to learn and play and get experience. You know, as guys get older, whether it's Luke with BBE or Sam with the Gateway group, you know, there are certainly levels to it. I think what's really neat is when players find that right fit for them on the AAU circuit, the club circuit, and then they really get an opportunity to thrive. Like watching what Gateway did and Sam's role on Gateway, it was fun just to sit back. You know, we'll probably talk about it, but Luke and Sam got to play together for 2 or 3 years. We kind of combined a couple of youth teams, but just to watch his game elevate because he was in the right system in the right spot. And it was phenomenal for him. So I think the state of basketball in St. Louis is really good. The club circuit is strong, whether you're talking like EYBL stuff with Brad Beal Elite, or you're talking the 3 Stripes, or you're talking the New Balance, or even Recruit Looks. Guys find the right place to play. They get the exposure, and guys from all of those circuits are going to play Division I, Division II basketball. So I think it's great.
How important was it for Sam to be playing? Like, I'm old, right? None of this existed when I was in high school. And so he did really good this summer. What do you mean he did good this summer? You know, that somebody saw him at the playground, you know, so it has radically changed. How significant, how important are these off-season events and leagues and all that for players to not just get better, but also to get noticed?
Yeah, you know, Kevin hit it pretty well there. From a high school standpoint, you know, if you're a kid wanting to play college basketball, you know, you need those opportunities. Now, I mean, I think playing, you know, you're a high school kid, playing at your high school is where you develop. You're with that coach 5 days, 6 days a week. You're with them year round. You're in the gym. That's where, you know, that's where you get better.
I was waiting for the hearty amen over there. Go ahead.
I mean, it is. And like, obviously, you know, Luke's, you know, had a heck of a basketball coach, happened to be his dad.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was fortunate with Sam. You know, Sam's high school basketball coach, Mark Sandstrom, and he actually was not only his high school basketball coach, he had him in 7th and 8th grade. So he had him for 6 years. So, you know, it starts at the high school, but then where you get to show that off becomes the club scene. And, you know, self-admittedly, do I love club basketball? I'm probably, as a high school guy at heart, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think there's some parts to it and the team hopping and the jumping around that I'm not necessarily a big fan of. But the reality is, you know, when you go to an event and there's 40 college coaches sitting around the court, that's their time. That's the recruiting time. You know, so getting out there and, you know, that was important for that. But, you know, to go a step further, not everybody's going to play in college. And whether it's the 7th grade kid who's trying to make their varsity basketball team, you know, in a couple of years, you know, whether it's playing CNR or all the other events, you know, we have some really good clubs in this area that give kids the opportunity to play beyond dad taking an individual team and doing that. And there's some guys that do well, you know, and don't you feel like, Kevin, in the past 10 years, the amount of clubs that we've had I mean, it's triple. You know, it's
loaded, yeah.
It's really good.
you get clubs, you know, like, you know, Arsenal does a good job. And the obvious ones, you have the Brad Beals and you have the Gateways and you have Southwest Illinois Jets. But you get smaller organizations like Triple Threat Academy and the Mavericks and Larry Hughes Basketball Association. So there's a chance for, you know, I'm a big multi-sport guy. I know Kevin's the same way. But there are kids who just want to play basketball. And if you want to play basketball 12 months a year, there is an outlet. But maybe the 7 other neighborhood kids, you know, you don't have that to make a full team. You can join one of these clubs and you can get year-round training and you can play year-round. So, and that's when you talk about youth sports, that's what it's like for everything. You want to play soccer, you can play soccer 12 months. You want to, and I coach girls, and boy, they play soccer 12 months. And you can say the same thing with volleyball, and you can say the thing with baseball. So, you know, that's different now to when we were younger and we played during the seasons.
We have soccer in our gym year round.
Yeah.
I know you're exactly right. When looking back at Sam's life and Sam's development as a player, when did you think, he's going to be really good and he's got a chance to play at whatever that next level might be?
Yeah, again, it's funny. I was, you know, probably starting around 7th, 8th grade, I felt like I'm going to have to give social work or counseling pay to Kevin, back pay, because I don't know. Like I was a varsity girls basketball coach, so I don't know what good is, and so I could probably tell you what a high school, you know, this high school girl could play Division I, Division II. I didn't know what it looked like as far as the boys team, because I really was never involved with high school boys basketball, you know, until my kid grew over. So I didn't really know what it was. I wanted him to have fun. I wanted him to play the game the right way. And, you know, we were fortunate that I had a group of kids that I started in Columbia, Illinois, that we started coaching in 2nd grade. And, you know, 9 of them just graduated together. So they kept playing all the way. And, but, you know, I started getting a sense, and I don't know, 8th grade, this kid may be okay. And it just, and then when you get to high school, I thought, okay, maybe we have a chance. But I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think how fast 4 years went, you know, to think of where we are to where we are now.
And what about you? I mean, you've been obviously a boys coach. When did you know, hey, Luke's got a chance to be, you know, pretty special? You and I talked, I think, when he was probably a sophomore or something. And I said, hey, you know, he's really good. Where do you think he's going to do? And I was talking to you too, beating the table because I'm a Missouri Valley guy. Hey, get him in the Missouri Valley. I'm still mad at you. But anyway, when did you know, like, yep, Luke's got a real chance?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably around the same time frame, 7th, 8th grade. Now, the difference is, like, Sam was growing.
Yeah, he's like 6'8" or something.
6'8", 6'9", and skilled, right? So you look at that and you go, okay, Luke, I mean, I'm 5'11". I'm thinking, you know,
you still got time.
Right, I'm still growing, I think. You know, I coached Tony Cochran, who's one of the best shooters that's ever been in St. Louis. He was 5'9" and struggled to get Division II interest. So part of that on the recruiting trail is like, well, if he's a 5'10" guard, he's not a Division I player. I think probably around like 8th grade, we had a group of kids, similarly to Jeremy, that I coached from 1st through 8th grade. Same 10 kids all the way through, great parents. Like, it's exactly what you want youth sports to be. 8 of them ended up playing varsity basketball all the way through their senior year. I couldn't coach them in 8th grade because of MSHSAA rules. And so I got to be a dad in 8th grade. And we played a team up at the Shriners gym. And I just remember texting my wife at halftime and said, I've never seen Luke play like this.
Wow.
And he was under control. He was scoring. He was sharing it. He was shooting it. And a guy on that team's son played for BBE's 8th grade team. And he went back to their coach and said, you need to figure out who this guy is. He figured out I was at Vianney. So when he went down there to Matthews Dickey, I had no intention of him ever playing AAU until high school. I thought, okay, that's what it's for. Mm-hmm. And I talked to a couple of dads. They're like, well, if he's going to play early varsity, you might want to give him that experience. So we jumped in, and he kind of proved there against a different level of talent that, 1, he wasn't going to back down. 2, he could still get a shot off. And I think the most important thing for Luke always in the recruiting piece was, can he guard? Like, can he keep high-level athletes in front of him? And he proved that. So around 8th grade, I thought he's definitely going to have a chance to play in college. At what level, a lot was going to determine that, including just how much he grew.
Grew a little bit. He's like 6'2" now,
6'2",
something like that.
Yeah, about 6'2", yeah.
And his workout desires are legendary all over town. I see videos of Luke shooting 500 shots every day. That's good PR, by the way.
Yeah, right.
So now you guys, they're juniors, they're sophomores, they're getting noticed, and people are starting to knock on your door, maybe sending you an email, maybe sending you a text. What is that? What are those first kind of experiences like? All of a sudden, Coach X from University Y is calling to say, hey, what's Sam thinking about?
I tell you, my wife and I never fight. Like, we really never fight.
Here it comes.
And I will say we don't. And a lot of it's because
Good for
she's,
you. That's going to be another
yeah,
podcast
well,
for us.
she's she's really good. Like, she takes care of things, and I couldn't. If you told me to hang a blind, I wouldn't know how to do it, and she knows how to do things. We're good with that. I think the times we have fought the most was the beginning of college recruiting, because no one wants to do anything you want to make all the right decisions for your kids. You don't want to screw it up. What should you be doing? That was kind of like, I always wish there was a, recruiting for parents, dummies 101 type book that you do, because what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to email all these coaches? Are you supposed to do this? What are you supposed to do on Twitter? How are you supposed to do on film? A lot of this stuff. So, early on.
And there are people that'll sell you those
Oh,
products
yeah.
too.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in the beginning, it's honestly, I would describe the beginning of the college recruiting process. It's kind of like dating, hey, I like you. I think I might want to be with you, and let's maybe, date a little bit in the future. But I want to see if you're pretty enough, and I really do. And I think that's what it is, Kevin gave a good example with Sam. I mean, you can tell what kind of player Luke is. Luke's a shooter. Luke is he's going to be, you knew he was going to be 6'6", 6'1", 6'2", whatever it is. And he's a 2 guard, or mainly he's going to shoot the ball. Can he defend? Sam is a little different, because some might look at him as, is he going to be a stretch 4? Is he going to be a big point guard? Could he play a wing? So a lot of it was, what do you look at him for? But it's trying to gauge it, because in the end, what I learned, it kind of felt like, are you truly into him, or is he option number 4 for you? And if the other 3 say no. So it's humbling. It's a very humbling experience for a guy who was a mediocre Division III basketball player. I think we missed each other, because you're Fontbonne.
Yeah.
And what year?
95.
Okay. I was at Parks College. So I was the last ever class of Parks College.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, mediocre. Let me keep that word there.
I was not that good.
You were
I didn't
mediocre.
even get to mediocre.
Yeah. But for a guy who was a Division III basketball player, whose basketball is his life, and to see that his son, might have a chance to play Division I basketball, and for a sports junkie, it's absolutely humbling. It is the most humbling experience. And, and you're proud of your kids, because, I've got good kids and they make good grades and they're good people. And obviously that's more important, but basketball's pretty cool. Yeah. And if they could, be able to play at that level, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
You have an advantage, because you have coached other guys and other guys that have been looked at, but now you're the dad having to field some of those same calls. What's that like?
Yeah. And in truth, like, we're not a program that has had a lot of Division I guys, right? Paul Paradowski in 2004 is the only other Division I guy I've coached in 25 years.
Wow. So
we do a lot with Division III guys, maybe more than mediocre Division III guys, and some Division II guys. And so, yeah, that's a great word, humbling. I always am kind of like, okay, man, you never know. And so Luke was fortunate to get his first offer kind of after the AAU season, his freshman year, which I thought was pretty crazy early.
Yeah.
And it was neat. We were on a family vacation. Like, we had gone from Augusta, drove to Gulf Shores. My mom, my sisters, their kids were all there, and he got a call, and then went up to the house and came back to the beach, and it's like, just got an offer. I mean, I just sat there like, wow, because then it feels like okay, this is,
It's legit now.
yeah, this is legit. Like it means something. It's funny because, and Jeremy will know this too, like, oh, so that offer then sparks interest from other schools
Mhm.
potentially in that conference. And now maybe you get a couple more offers where maybe they don't know them as well, but they, are like, well, if that school's offering, we should too. But then there's other periods where it just goes dry. And then that becomes, I think, more for the kids, frustration, like what's happening, and I would always say, if nothing else, this place wanted you first. Why would you, like, you're going to go to school for free and get to play a game that you love and have dedicated your life to, run with that, and so there's highs and lows in it. It can be challenging. I agree, like as a dad and my wife and I, sometimes we just sit there and I'm like, is this really happening? Because if you look at the number of high school players that become Division I athletes, it's like 1/2 of 1%. Right. And then again, kid from Vianney, we don't have a lot of Division I guys. Columbia doesn't produce a lot of Division I guys, and so it's really neat, the work that they put in. We know the amount of time that Sam and Luke have dedicated this, and when you see them get rewarded, I mean, that's the greatest life lesson of all. And it was neat because Luke and Sam, like, they played together in 6th and 7th grade, and they have a friendship, and they would swap stories and share stories. And I mean, I can't tell you the number of times Jeremy and I he'd be driving home from Indy and I'd be driving home from Atlanta, and we'd talk and like, how are things going? Where are you at right now? And hey, help me with this school. And, it's just weird sometimes how we came together, and then to be able to kind of experience this with our boys and then supporting each other. It's been a really cool journey, and even neater that we get to sit here with you and kind of reminisce about those, because I can go right outside our gym where he was picking up Sam and some of the Columbia guys from camp. And I can remember him saying, hey, what if we took 4 or 5 of your guys and 3 or 4 of my guys, we put a little team together? And we did, and it never practiced. And it was
The Bi-State Warriors. The Bi-State. Kevin had the design.
Yeah, we used the JV Bridge instead of the Golden Gate Bridge.
There you go.
It was beautiful. And we never practiced. Jeremy would get us all the best teams in CNR, and we just go out, and these guys all knew how to play. And you would sit there, and even to this day, like Luke at times will say, sharing is caring. And that was Jeremy's line constantly at halftime, because we had dudes that were good, and sometimes they would want to kind of do their thing, and sharing is caring. And,
so Harry, that team, it's funny now. It's just when you look back. So we mainly end up having, I think, 8 guys playing. And if you look at that team, so Sam and Luke, both are going to play Division I basketball. We actually had a kid a year younger, Brody Landgraf, who's one another Columbia kid. He'll be playing Division I baseball at Creighton. JD Dorman, Vianney student, Division I baseball at Missouri. And then I have 2 seniors, Hayes Van Brusgen and Brady Hemminghouse will both play college soccer. And then, JD Robertson just led his team, a major part of Westminster going to the Final Four.
And he hasn't decided on college, but I know there's a lot of Division II schools that are interested in him.
Yeah, his dad was a little better than Kevin. A little better,
maybe a mediocre.
Yeah, he was a mediocre
player.
Mediocre, big
only
1,000
points at KU.
Yeah. So no, and that was the case, and that's kind of been from us on the Columbia side, and it was the deal. Put a bunch of good kids around each other, smart kids, athletic kids, and there's your multi-sport aspect of it all. But that was the Bi-State Warriors.